This tutorial is about recording screencasts using free software on Windows. CamStudio, Audacity and the Xvid codec are three very useful programs to install first. I'm using CamStudio to record, but it needs to be set up first. You need to decide what size of video you're going to produce, and it's best to use a standard size. This is recorded in 1280 by 720 pixels. I sometimes use a larger size if I'm creating HD video. And you want your screen to be clear of clutter in the background. I'm using a fixed region, and you need to select this beforehand and click the corner to edit to the correct size. If we go to the region, we've selected the fixed region. We can select an area on screen here, untick the fixed top left corner. If that is ticked, select the region. You'll get a box where you can move, and we can do it even though it's running. This will allow you to drag across the screen to select your region. Once you have selected the region, you need to edit the box back to the correct size. Click again on fixed top left corner and click on OK to save that. I'm going to cancel this as I don't want to make changes to the running video. Now when the recorder starts, you get a green flashing corner, which you can't see on this video, to indicate the position of each of the corners of your screen. Then you can set any windows that you want to record within this area quite easily. The video options I'm using the Xvid codec. You can leave the default 200 frames for keyframes. For this, I'm capturing at 100 milliseconds and a playback rate of 10. These two multiplied together must equal 1000. If I'm using HD video that I've recorded and I want to add a screenshot to it, then I would need to use 25 frames per second at 40 milliseconds to multiply together to 1000. We do need to switch off a pop-up box for the Xvid codec. If we go to Configure and then to Other Options, make sure the Display Encoding status is unticked. And you click on OK if you've changed that. Next, we want to set up the cursor options. And I've used Show Cursor, use the actual cursor, and I'm using highlight the cursor to make the cursor easier to see on a video. For the first section it was set to yellow. I can change that to make it more obvious. Okay. The audio options. Audio options for microphone. We're going to use the microphone, so this should be record options. Audio for microphone should be ticked. Audio options for microphones. I've selected my microphone from several that's plugged in at the moment. I'm using 22 kHz stereo 16-bit. There are many other options there, but this is working for me. Compression format, I'm using PCM, and again there are a number of formats available. Interleaved every 100 milliseconds is the default, and using MCI recording. Okay. And with all these options selected, we should be ready to start recording. The most important thing before you start recording your actual work material is to check the setup. So we're clicking on the red button here, and you should see the flashing corners marking the corners of the recording area. Take the application you want to display, place it where you want it within this area. Speak normally to test your microphone system. The microphone should be set to the side of your mouth, not in front, and your speakers should be switched off so that you don't get any feedback from them. Click on the blue square to stop the recording, and then evaluate your initial recording to make sure that everything seems to be at the right level. When you're recording with CamStudio, it is important to plan what you want to say, to plan what you want to do, and record your material in a series of short sequences, and save each part of the sequence with a suitable numbering system, and then check it. If you make a mistake in either what you're saying or your on-screen actions, pause briefly to give an editing space, and then simply continue from just before the mistake, and then you can edit the mistake out later. Just continue with your normal voice and the correct actions. You can just ignore the error for the moment and remove it later. Now I'm using the program AvsP, and I have typed in this line here to load the plugin. So when you downloaded the Audiograph plugin, note the path, insert the path to that plugin here, and I've inserted the clip to the first clip that I want to edit. Now the Audiograph needs this convert part of the line here, otherwise it won't work. The Audiograph adds a visual track of the sound to the video. I can step through the video frame by frame, and you can see here that the graph of the sound is being displayed. Now that is essential if you want to clip out a sound. You should at this point have a series of video clips saved in a folder on your computer. But what I want to do is to run this code I've written here in an external player that gives me the sound as well. AvsP doesn't give me the sound, so I can't actually hear it. So I want to at the same time listen in an external player. You should at this point have a series of video clips saved in a folder on your computer. You need to cut out the mistakes, join the clips together. Now the advantage of SM Player is that I can stop and step through frame by frame to check the sound, and this makes it much easier to identify sections I want to cut out. For example, I might want to cut out a section of sound, silence rather, like this, to speed up the process, or I might have a cough that I want to remove. And save the final movie. So there's a long section there of silence that I could cut out. But unfortunately there's no direct link between this video and the editor. So I need to note whereabouts in the program I am. Let's just move this up. And I can see timing on the bottom of the screen here. So if I move that to one side, I can use the timing on the base here to locate the part of the clip that I've identified by playing it through in the player. So having identified it here, I can then cut something out. If I want to cut something out, I want the video trim selection editor, and this is simply marking places on the script that I want to cut out or keep. I'm going to mark points that I want to cut out by keeping unselected regions, and I'm going to move this slider to show how it would work. Move it far too far then. Let's cut out this section here. So the green highlighted bit is where we are at the moment. So if I mark that and then just go on slightly to the end of that bit of text, bit of sound rather, and mark that, and then I can apply. Now that section has been trimmed, but it's only trimmed in the code. The source material is still exactly the same, and you can see we have two sections. The first section, a missing section, and the rest of the section. Now this means that it's very quick to change an edited section, and if I play this back, I could listen for the missing section. You should at this point have a series of video clips saved in a folder on your computer. You need to cut out the mistakes, join the clips together, and the section of speech is simply missing. Save the final movie. In preparing I'll move that back out of the way. I'll stop that one. I've got 6. If I decide I didn't want that removed, I can simply delete that piece of text, and I'm back to exactly where we were before with that text included. So there's a lot of advantages to this system, and it's worth learning the system. You can clip out quite a lot of sections, and if you're clipping out a lot of sections, it's best to start from the end and work your way back to the beginning. Now that I've decided how I want this first clip to be trimmed, I've copied it to my final script. And here we see clip 1 is the source is this first clip, and it is to be trimmed in this way. So it's simply clip 1 equals trim this, and I've removed the little bit of code to change the format of that video. And I'm going to add each clip in turn to this list. Note I've added the clip 1 here, so it's not quite the same. So that section there has been added, clip 1. I'm now going to process the remaining clips in the same way and add them here. So back to the original script, and I'm now going to edit the second of my video clips that I've recorded. This one is called edit 2, so I'm going to change edit 1 to edit 2. I'm going to delete the trim from the previous, and I'm going to call this clip 2. So clip 2 is edit to AVI. I'm going to audiograph clip 2, and I'm going to preview this in my external player. Now I'm using the program AvsP, and I have typed in this line here to load the plugin. So when you downloaded the Audiograph plugin, note the path, insert the path to that plugin here, and I've inserted the clip to the first clip that I want to edit. Now the Audiograph needs this convert part of the line here, otherwise it won't work. Right, there's a long pause there that I want to edit out, so we're about 44 seconds in. I need to locate that on the program in ASP, on the clip in ASP. Now I've been adding each of the short scripts for each clip into the final script. So here's the first one that we added. The next one has been trimmed in several places. The next one has been trimmed in one place. And then I've got 5 clips that didn't need trimming at all. And the last one has been trimmed once. If I list the clips in a line like this, separated by ++ symbol, then I can preview this script in my external player. I can make sure I've saved this script, and I want to load it now into VirtualDub. And the file to load is the final script AVS, which I'll open. So this is now in VirtualDub, and the file I can save as AVI. But before I do that, I will just add this final sequence to it to complete the tutorial. When I use VirtualDub to save the complete video, I need to set the compression, which is the codec used, and I need to set it to Xvid. Okay. The default is no compression, which produces very large files indeed.